Hello all, welcome to Xamarin Tech Talks. Hope everyone are doing good. So today we'll see how to work with FreshMvvm in our Xamarin Forms application. So what is FreshMvvm? So basically, as everyone know about the MVVM framework, so every different flavor of MVVM is built on top of the base MVVM concept. So whatever we see, different flavors of MVVM framework, like Fresh MVVM, next Prism, and we have MVVM Cross, MVVM Quick Cross. So we just got a lot of different flavors with their own internal capabilities of utilizing the complete MVVM framework. So today we'll discuss about what is this Fresh MVVM. So what is that good thing that we get with Fresh MVVM? So as basic MVVM is very light framework. So the Fresh MVVM that built on top of MVVM is pretty much the same. It's very super light MVVM framework. And when we are going with a custom MVVM framework, so the main reason for us to go is all the capabilities that we actually look in a simpler way. We just need to use a specific MVVM framework in such a way that it should be easy and it should be very simple and it should be more flexible in utilizing all the capabilities of that. So Fresh MVVM provides all such capabilities. So in terms of navigation, in terms of data related things, in terms of bindings, and in terms of all the specific types that we are looking for, the navigation types, like master detail, the tabbed approach, and the normal navigation approach. So it's pretty much very simple in integrating in our Xamarin Forms application, and everything is derived through page models. So there is no specific concept of we specifying what is the binding context of every individual page, because it is automatically wired with a page model. Let's say if I say any simple page dot xaml, then automatically simple page model is the specific page model which is automatically wired as the binding context. So there is no explicit specification of okay, this is the binding context for this particular page. So we have such kind of capabilities with Fresh MVVM. So we will see how we can just leverage all the capabilities in a small sample. So you can just go through this particular complete GitHub thing. So I'll just paste this link in the description, so you can just go through that, and we'll now see how to work with Fresh MVVM. So I'm just going to Visual Studio for Mac, and I'm just clicking on new project. So let's take an empty solution. So I'm just creating that. So now we'll just add a PCL. So right now we are driving with both Android and iOS as we are targeting Xamarin Forms. So I'm just going to Forms app. So we just got two different things: Forms app and blank Forms app. So the main difference here is, as you just got to know, like when you're trying to go with the Forms app, Visual Studio Community for Mac actually gives you the complete skeleton of all the structures like services and all with different segregation. So if we just want to go with that, you can just click on Forms app, or else you can just, if you want to have your own kind of structure, you can just go with blank Forms app. So I'm just clicking on blank Forms app, and I'm specifying my app name and the project name. I'm just leaving as is. Just click on create. So our basic skeleton got created. Just leave us Visual Studio a second so that it adds all the necessary packages required for the complete solution. And by that time we can just go and have a look of what are the packages that we need to include in our Xamarin Forms application. So we'll just go and search for FreshMvvm. So you can able to see that FreshMvvm, so the author is Ridland. So you can see pretty good updates that we have with respect to this particular framework. So I'm just trying to add this particular package to my PCL first. And after that, I'm just going to add in my Droid. And I'm just going to add in my iOS project. So this is what the basic steps that are necessary for including the FreshMvvm, and there is no specific other libraries which are necessary for running the FreshMvvm application. So only FreshMvvm framework is necessary for that. So now I'm just going to have one specific page which is already there. So if you just want to go ahead with that, you can just go ahead with that. Otherwise, you can just remove and you can just add your own new page. So I just want to have two different folders so that I just want to make it more cleaner in presenting. So I am just creating two folders. One is pages and another one is page models. So I'm just going to create one particular page here. So go to forms. So I'm just going to create a content page XAML. So I'm just making it first page. So here the main key concept is we should be very cautious in just specifying the names for the pages and the page models. So because everything is derived through here the names, so it's something like it actually uses reflection. So everything is derived through names. So I'm just clicking on first page, so it automatically creates my page. So I'm just going to create a page model here, so which is a basic class. So here it is first page model. So if you see here, the name is first page, and I'm just mentioning it as first page model. So if you are going with any custom page name, so you just need to specify the same naming conventions so that it actually identifies the specific page, so that whatever the automatic wiring of binding context that we are talking will happen properly. So the other now I'm just going to add one more page, so that we just want to check the navigation. So second page. So I'm just going for the page model. Second page model. So now we have created two specific pages here. So now we'll see what is the other step that we need to do in order to achieve this navigation. And before that, so whenever we are trying to have a complete end-to-end solution of an MVVM framework, so we even talk about IOC containers, where we just drive the complete dependency injection concept throughout our application. So here every particular flavor of MVVM framework has its own concept of utilizing the IOC containers. So in terms of Fresh MVVM, we use Fresh IOC containers, which actually resolves all the specific classes which are necessary in terms of utilizing the dependency injection concept. So now I'm just going to have a basic setup of navigation here. So we'll just go to navigation. So I'm just going for navigation. So where I just want to go with a normal navigation flow. So let's just take this particular piece of code here. So where I'm just going to drive a fresh navigation container. Here there are three different classes where it actually utilized in navigation types. So fresh navigation container is for the normal navigation flow. Fresh tabbed navigation container is utilized for tabbed pages. And there is one more thing called as master detail, which is used as fresh master detail navigation container. So now we'll go with the basic navigation container now. So I'm just in our app XAML. So wherever we are just trying to initialize this main page. So I'm just going to have my first page. So fresh. So we'll just use the specific Fresh MVVM concept here. So we'll just have first page. So what is our first page model? First page model. Let's resolve the assembly to namespace. So and we'll try to use this navigation container here. First navigation, and let's mention the first page, and we can just have the complete because it actually accepts the string name, what is the kind of navigation that you want, and you can just have multiple navigations in your applications. So this particular custom navigations are very much useful if you have a different modules in your application, so that I can just directly go to that particular navigation service, or I can just move to this particular navigation service. So it is pretty much simple if we are dealing with one specific navigation page name. So I'm just using my custom navigation. Let's see what is the problem here. Okay, so we just need to include fresh base page model, fresh base page model here as a base class for all the page models. So that is one thing that we just need to include. So for the second page model, we just need to include the same fresh base page model. So now we can just go ahead with this approach, and once the navigation container is created, so we just need to make it to our main page. So the first navigation, whenever we just open the application, the first page will be the first page model. And after that, we just want to have one specific button here. So I just want to have a button, navigate to second, and we'll have a specific setup for this. And after that, I just want to go ahead with first page model. And here I just want to use one specific library that I just need to mention here as a 40. So every particular binding is actually worked on notifications, right? So whenever any property changes, it is notified through I notify property changed. So if we can, if we have our own specific stuff, we can just write our I notify property changed concept, or else the 40, basically 40 property changed, which does it automatically at the compile time, so that whenever any change happens to that property, it automatically notifies to the page model, and vice versa. So I'm just going to use that package. So 40 property changed. So this is what the specific package that I'm mentioning to. So it is trying to add the property change.40. And if you see here, so it actually adds property change.40 and the 40 library. So there is one specific setup that we need to mention in the 40 viewers.xml is, so what is the specific event that should happen for our specific properties that we are going to use. And so as we are just trying to deal with all the page models as our binding context, so we just need to include so we'll just go here in the packages and the property changed. So what is that we just need to include? So initially in the previous versions, we are just going to use the implement property change. Now it is deprecated, so that we just need to use the new one, which is add I notify property changed interface attribute on every particular page model or any particular model that we are going to have it as a class, where we just need to have this notification should be done. So I'm just going to include this add I notify property changed, and I'm just resolving that. And let's have a command here, I command navigate to second. So let's use that, and I'm just going to have a private method here, private void navigate to second page. So a new command of, so what is the method, navigation to second page, and resolve nav command. So as we are trying to deal with FreshMvvm, so already Xamarin Forms has two different override methods. One is view is appearing and view is disappearing. So with respect to the page initialization process and the page utilization process, FreshMvvm has its own specific override methods. The first key method is init. So whenever we have any specific initialization, it's just like in iOS the way that we use the view did load. This is the complete key part where we actually do all the initializations of the page, everything will happen here. My view is completely going to initialize in this particular place. So, and we have one more one more override method, which is reverse init. So, whenever I'm using any kind of model concepts in my Xamarin Forms application, let's say I'm just having a model window which actually opens when I tap on any button, and if I just want to carry the data from there to here, so I can just go with reverse init, which is called, so whenever any data is pushed from a model window to the parent window. So this particular thing will be used in that context. And you can just go ahead with the base Xamarin Forms also. View is appearing and view is disappearing. And we have specific core methods, core page methods, which are utilized in terms of having the complete navigation process here. And we don't deal with pages here. Everything is derived through page models. So whenever I'm just navigating from one page to another page, it's completely mean like one page model to another page model. So I'm just having async core methods is the specific core methods that we need to use. First initial dot push page model, and what is the page model that I need to push? It's second page model. And if you want to pass any data from this page model, first page model, to the second page model, you can just specify any kind of type here because it is an object. So we just need to have the casting on the child model, on which we are kind of retrieving the data. And if you want to have this particular page model as a model, you just need to specify it as true. And the default for animate is true. If you just don't want an animation and the page transition, you can just remove that. So right now we don't have any data that we need to pass to the second page model. And I'm just making this particular thing as async. So async, sorry, await. So, and I just need to go with async and the page name. And I need to mention await. So this is how the base navigation thing to be done. And I'm just using this navigate to second command here, and I'm just going to the button. So I'm just mentioning the binding. And you see here I'm not specifying any kind of indication that okay, this is the binding context, because it is automatically wired up. So let's run this. So just check everything is prepared. Okay, and let's run this application. So I'm just running the iOS application. So you can see our first page actually got initialized, and whatever the button that we have specified on the page, it got showed up. So I'm just clicking on navigate to second. So you can see the navigation process. And if I just click on back, so base navigation is set on this application. Now we'll see how to pass the data. So to access that particular data, I'm just going to have a specific control here. So for that, I'm just going with a label. So I'm just binding custom header is my property, vertical options, center and expand, and we'll go to second page model. And I'm just going to have the same attribute here on my second page model. so that I just want to have the complete notification should be done automatically. So let's create a public property, public string, and the specific name that we have given here. And the base override method that we need to use is here is init. So let's init data not equals to null if init data is string, then custom header equals to init data. So I'm just going to wire up whatever the data that I'm passing from here to there, and I'm mapping it to custom header. So in the first page model, so we'll just make it like one more control, first page. So I'll use a stack layout here, and I'll have the same properties, and I'll just move this to here, and orientation is equals to vertical, and that's enough. And prior to that, I'll just create a edit entry, and text is equals to, we'll go with binding. My custom header, I'll just use the same property in the first page model also. Horizontal options equals to center and expand. That's enough. So let's create this property in my first page model, string, and we'll pass this custom header here. Now we'll just run. So I'm just putting a breakpoint here. What happened? Okay, this is a problem with Visual Studio Community, and I'll just open the application again. And we'll just put one more breakpoint here also. So let's say hi, and we'll see what is the value here, hi, and let's navigate to here. So we just got our hi. So this is how we can just pass the data. So you can just pass any kind of data, any type, but we should be very cautious that it is recommended that not to send a huge collection to the next page. So we just need to have a kind of refined data that is necessary for accessing on the other page. So just we should be very cautious in just even on the data that we are going to pass to the next pages. And let's say we'll just see how to drive this model scenario also. So I'm just going to have this page to be shown as model. So I'm just mentioning this true. And in my second page, so I'm just going to have the same concept. I'll just go ahead with creating a stack layout / stack layout, and I'll have a button, click me to close, horizontal options, center and expand, and I'll have a command. So one more specific kind of recommendation is, it's a good practice that maximum try not to write any kind of code in the pages, so pages code behind. So it is something which we we just need to make sure like we have it as a best practice so that everything is derived through page models and through commands or through bindings. And so I'm just mentioning binding close command. So let's use this command here to create public I command, new command. So and I'm just going to create a private method here, close page, await core methods dot pop page model. So this is what is necessary here, and there is no need of specifying what is the page model that I need to go. So automatically, whatever the page it actually got initiated, means like parent, it actually moves to parent. And I'm just going to use async await of close page. So if I just want to send any specific data here, so I'm just going to have a value here. So for just for demo purpose, string data. This data is coming from second page model. So I'm just passing this data here. That's it. The same way that we have done from first page model to second page model, the same way. And here we just need to use reverse init. And the same way as we verified, we just need to use the same way. So here it would be return data. Let's check this. And I will just make this button to look a bit fill and expand, so that whatever the data that we see, we can see that in full context. So I'm just saying hi Dheeraj. So you can see the page actually the transition happened from the bottom. So you can see hi Dheeraj, and I'm just clicking on close. Oh, 1 second, let's see whether we have specified that command or not. So close command, second page model, close command. Let's put a breakpoint here, and let's put a breakpoint here. Hi Dheeraj. So, and I'm just clicking on close. So you can able to see that it actually came to this place. And the data is actually not refreshed. That's it. But we can able to see the data. So I'm just clicking on I can able to see that this data is coming from second page model. We'll see why the page model didn't act closed. Oh, okay. So because we just need to mention as it is a model, right? So the model should be closed properly. That's the reason it is actually not closing. So hi Dheeraj, click on here. So you see the data is actually reflected properly, and I'm just going to delete that. Hey, so you see the data is coming here. So this is how we can just have um, the data traveling from one page model to another page model and coming vice versa. So this is the simple and easy part which I see in FreshMvvm. And in the next topic, we'll just go with how to deal with tab navigation. So if you have any queries or questions related to utilization of FreshMvvm, you can just drop a message on the chat. Um, so I can just try to reply your questions as early as possible. So thank you so much.